welcome back to Building the Boys. We've now got another Halloween horror, and in this one, we'll be asking the question: who put Bella in the witch elm? What does that mean? Well, this is a story that dates back to 1943, and the discovery of skeletal remains inside a witch elm in Hagley Wood, which is in Hagley, funnily enough, in Worcestershire. And did you hear that pronunciation, Americans? Worcestershire. We don't say Shire. No one says Shire except for hobbits. Worcestershire. So the story goes that three boys were what they call bird nesting, poaching, from Hagley Wood, which was owned by noblemen at the time. It wasn't public land, and seeing a very large witch elm, they assumed it would be a good place for birds to nest, and they could get there and rob some eggs. So they climbed up, and it was one of the boys peered down into the hollow and saw a skull. At first he thought it was an animal skull, and was curious but not alarmed. And he noticed hair, and a blonde hair still on the skeletal remains. Pulled it out, and it was a human skull. It still had teeth. Freaked out, put it back, and they climbed down and they kind of discussed what they were going to do. Now, they shouldn't have been poaching eggs. They shouldn't have been on somebody else's land. So the boys did what little boys would do at that point. Let's just say nothing. And left. They didn't tell anyone. They didn't tell anybody what they just found. They just left. And the youngest of the boys was clearly very disturbed by what had happened, and that evening confessed to his parents. So police were called, not really believing the boys at this point until they went to the witch elm, and sure enough, they pulled out the skeletal remains of a lady. Still had a wedding band on. There was some very minor effects. There was a bracelet, a wedding band, an empty purse, and that was it. And one of her hands was missing. They also found gauze, like cloth, in her throat, which suggests she was suffocated. A search of the area found the hand quite a way away from the tree. So the hand wasn't with the body. The hand was a good, a couple hundred yards away from the actual tree. So who was she, and why was she in a tree? Well, an autopsy discovered that she would have been around about 18 years old, 18 to 25 years old, and they believe that she died 18 months prior. So that would put her death around about October of 1941. So yeah, a good 81 years ago now. So they checked databases of missing people, and no one really fit the description for the area, or it just wasn't there. Now, part of this is World War II is happening. A lot of people went missing. Like, a lot of people went missing that were never found, never seen again. So not everything was a missing persons report, and even then, when there was, the database was humongous. And it's not like now where you can bang something into the internet and find it. This is somebody literally having to trawl through paperwork to find different. No trace. No one's reported this lady missing. Nobody's reported anything untoward. No one knows. So they had no way of identifying who she was, why she was in there, and who had murdered her. And it kind of went cold for about 18 months, and then a very unusual piece of graffiti appeared that looked like this. It appeared in 1943 on an obelisk near Hagley Wood. Who put Bella down the witch elm? Who's Bella? At this point, we've got no name. Now all of a sudden, somebody's named her as Bella. Now, was this people playing a practical joke? Maybe. But it gave them a new line of inquiry, so they could research this. That, coupled along with the skull that they had, and the very little evidence that they had, they were able to determine that there was a missing person, a sex worker called Bella, that had indeed gone missing. Now, what makes that intriguing is if it was indeed this lady in the tree, whoever put that graffiti on the obelisk knew. So it would suggest that it was the person that did it, or somebody that knows the person that did it, that was able to put this on there. Which gives us a whole nother level of creepy, because this is almost as if someone's been caught but didn't really get the fame they wanted. So they want to keep this, you know, mystery going. But now they've named her. They've named her as Bella. It's very strange. There is, I mean, not for the squeamish, but there is a picture of the skull, which is here. Pretty grim. I mean, what they were able to determine was that the autopsy determined that in forensics that she would have had to have been put in the tree immediately following death, because any later rigor mortis would have set in and they wouldn't have got her in. The tree was that sort of small, you wouldn't be able to, once rigor mortis is set into a body, you'd never be able to shape it and get it into that tree. It's unusual, right? And it doesn't explain the missing hand. Now, there have been lots of theories about who she was, whether or not it was indeed this sex worker or not. It's never been able to be determined. There was, for the longest time, there was a theory that there was a German paratrooper that parachuted into the area, and that he had a girlfriend, a cabaret singer, who was being trained as a spy, who they believe would have been parachuted in shortly after her, and that maybe somebody had caught and killed her. But that doesn't really ring true, because, I mean, if that had have happened, well, two things would have happened. I mean, one, the idea being that maybe she parachuted in and just went straight into the tree, and so, okay, well, where's the parachute? That never happened. That somebody would have caught a German spy and killed her and rammed in a tree. That wouldn't have happened. If you killed a German spy, caught and killed a German spy, you probably would have got a medal. In 1941, there was no need to hide a body. Another one that comes up, and I'll not name them in this one because, you know, I'm not going to name them. There was a lady that came forwards in 1953 claiming that her husband had confessed to the murder of Bella. He says that it was him and a Dutchman called Van Belt. Van Belt, can you believe that sounds like Van Belt? Had been drinking with her, and that she was kind of, they were almost mocking her, you know, so that they were, you know, kind of hearing the kind of fairly, you know, lascivious stories of her life as a sex worker, and they got drunk, and then they were driving home with her, and she passed out in the car. So what they did was they took her and put her inside the tree, so she'd wake up the next morning terrified, but realise the error of her ways and change her life. I don't buy that. That's ridiculous. But this is what he claimed, and that he claimed that he was haunted by nightmares of a woman peering out of a tree at him, and he was sectioned. He went to an asylum, and this is the problem with that story. Without him being alive to sort of question and ask, you know, this is just this woman saying it. It also doesn't explain the missing hand. In 1945, another theory was put forward of witchcraft, that there is a ceremony that involves removing the hand, and then suffocating the body and storing them in trees. And a similar sacrifice had happened to a man about 4 years prior to this, in the next town over. Where this gets weird is the "Who Put Bella in the Witch Elm" graffiti kept appearing up until the 1970s. It would still appear. Now, again, I don't know if that's people that are just keeping some very morbid tradition alive, or if the guy was just reveling in the fact that he never got caught and would just keep the memory of, you know, who put Bella in the witch elm. So say it was me and you still ain't caught me. Who knows? Where this gets really, really weird, as if it wasn't weird enough, is no one knows where Bella is. The body's gone. No one knows where the remains have gone. They're gone. No one knows where the autopsy report is. It's gone. All we know of are reports of the report. This definitely happened. There's no two ways this happened. This definitely happened. There are press reports about it. There were newspaper reports about it. There are police reports about it. It definitely happened. But the autopsy's gone missing, and so has the remains. Why? Again, it was World War II. There's a lot of theories and ideas and conspiracy theories that maybe whoever was shoved in that tree was on the wrong side during a war. Who knows? Maybe a high-ranking officer and a mistress. Who knows? But unless it's a massive clerical error, it sounds like something's being covered up. Because again, if the body had gone missing, but the autopsy remained, fair enough. If the autopsy had gone missing, but the body remained, fair enough. They both went missing? Seems mighty convenient. But that is the story of Bella and the Witch Tree, and to this day, no one knows who she is or who put her in there. So we have a nameless victim and an unknown murderer. Very spooky, weird story. We've got another story coming up about a tree. This is kind of our third story that involves a tree. So we had Stingy Jack and the tree, we've got Bella stuck in a tree, and we've got another story about a tree coming up. As a rule of thumb, kids, just stay out the woods. Nothing positive happens in the woods at Halloween. Just stay out the woods. Avoid them. Don't trust the trees, man. They've been quiet for too long. They're up to something. But yeah, stay out the woods. Until next time, stay scared, and we will see you for the penultimate Halloween horror next time. In a world we can be, it'll just be nice, and please remember to like and subscribe.